Welcome to this short video lesson on health and welfare provisions at the workplace. Welfare provisions, provision of facilities that are necessary for the well-being of employees such as washing, toilet, rest and changing facilities and somewhere clean to eat and drink during breaks. Drinking water. Suitable and hygienic drinking water must be arranged within accessible range. Temperature should be around 20 degrees Celsius. Drinking water must be kept more than 6 meters away from toilets. Toilets and washing facilities. A sufficient number of toilets and washing facilities must be arranged. This depends on the number of workers. So as you can see a chart out here which shows the number of workers and the number of toilets and the number of wash basins which are required to meet the needs of the workers. Changing rooms. If work requires workers to change clothing, changing rooms must be readily available, have seating arrangements equipped with hangers ensuring the privacy of the users. Rest areas or rooms provided should be large enough and have sufficient seats for the number of workers likely to use them at any one time. Creches. Where more than 30 female workers are engaged, a creche and a female caretaker should be arranged to take care of the young children. Eating facilities. Eating facilities provided they are in a sufficiently clean and hygienic place, suitable surface on which to place the food, that is desks or tables, and suitable seating arrangements for the number of workers in the workplace. Ventilation and thermal comfort. Workplace and rest areas must have proper ventilation facilities to maintain thermal comfort of the workers. Temperature can be maintained around 18 to 24 for sedentary workers. For active workers, it can be a little lower. Relative humidity between 40 to 70% is comfortable. A very high humidity can lead to excessive sweating. Low humidity can lead to dehydration and parched skin. Air speeds are around 0.1 to 2 meters per second makes it comfortable. The lighting should be adequate depending on the place of work. So there are different kinds of categories of the places, for example, movement of people, machinery and vehicles in the outdoors like lorry park, corridors and etc. need an average illuminance of 20 lux and a minimum illumination of about 5 lux. Movement of people and hazardous areas, rough work not requiring any perception of details like construction site clearance, excavation etc. needs an average illuminance of 50 lux and a minimum illuminance of 20 lux. Work requiring limited perception like kitchens, factory assembling large components requires an average illuminance of 100 lux and a minimum value of 50. Work requiring perception of detail, that is office work, sheet metal work, bookbinding, general office illumination should be around 200 lux with a minimum of 100. Work requiring perception of fine detail like engineering drawings, factories assembling electronic components, textile production where fine work is being carried out on work, fabrics, require highest levels of around 500 lux with a minimum of around 200 lux. Provisions must be made for pregnant women and nursing mothers. Rest should be conveniently situated. Facility to lie down, being able to take flexible and unplanned breaks during work shifts must be provided. Smoking booths should be provided to control smoking at workplace. Special dedicated smoking areas should be provided for smokers. Substantially enclosed means an area which has a roof and where the wall surface area exceeds the surface area of gaps in the walls. They can be outdoor or attached to the buildings or some specially designed rooms inside the building. Let's look at what does the ILO Code of Practice say on welfare facilities on personal hygiene. Adequate washing facilities should be provided to enable workers to meet a standard of personal hygiene consistent with adequate control of exposure and the need to avoid the spread of chemicals hazardous to health. The washing facilities should be conveniently accessible but situated so that they do not themselves become contaminated from the workplace. The type of washing facilities should be related to the nature and degree of exposure. Clothing accommodation should be provided when protective clothing is used or when there is a risk of the contamination of outdoor clothing by hazardous chemicals. Changing facilities should be so situated and designed as to prevent the spread of contamination from protective clothing to personal clothing and from one facility to another. Further, to reduce the risk of ingesting chemicals hazardous to health, workers should not eat, chew, drink or smoke in a work area which is contaminated by such chemicals. Employers should prohibit eating, chewing, drinking, or smoking in work areas in which adequate control of exposure can only be achieved by employees wearing personal protective equipment to prevent exposure to chemicals hazardous to health, and in any other area where such chemicals are likely to be present. Where it is necessary to prohibit eating or drinking, suitable facilities should be set aside for these activities to be carried out in an uncontaminated area, which should be conveniently accessible to the work area. We hope you enjoyed this brief video lesson on welfare facilities for workers. Your feedback and comments are deeply appreciated. Thanks.